This is a video on how to install a factory diesel tachometer on a 6.9 liter international diesel engine that otherwise does not have one. The first thing you'll need to acquire is a timing cover that has the bolt receptacle for the sensor itself. It's going to have this little thing protruding from the side of it. This is the driver's side of the vehicle. The next thing you're going to need to acquire is a working tachometer sensor, which is this bolt thing here with two wires coming out of it. I was lucky in being able to acquire a factory tachometer harness, and I've set it up a little different than factory. So you will need these three things. You will need to install this cover if you don't have one installed already, and I've posted videos on how to do that. The next thing you'll need to acquire is a diesel tachometer. The diesel tachometer is different than the gas, and the gas tachometer will not work properly. Once you have all those things, you can hook it up. You're going to have 4 wires coming from your factory harness. This factory harness is behind the dash. It's got a big black connection to it with the wires. I've hooked it up with bullet connectors here so that I can pull it off if I need to. You've got 4 wires that hook directly into the back of the tachometer. The tachometer is independent from the rest of the gauges if you have a non-tachometer circuit board. The green wire and the black wire come in through the firewall from the tachometer sensor. They're green and black. If you take this gauge out of the cluster and look at its own circuit board in the back, you will see a signal and a ground. That's where you hook up signal and ground. The other 2 wires are the yellow wire and the red wire. The yellow wire is simply a ground wire that hooks up somewhere behind here. Find something metal. See, there are several ground wires hooked up for the radio and the lights. You can hook it up there, you can hook it up anywhere in there to something metal. The red wire is a little more, it's probably the hardest. It's the 12-volt power source. If you would like to hook up this 12-volt power source to the same wire that powers the engine harness when the key is turned to the accessory position, then you will have to undo your dashboard, lift out your harness, and find the red wire with a green stripe on it. It's fairly thick. I think it's 14 gauge wire. If you can tap into that, then it will power your tachometer when the key is turned to the accessory position, which is kind of nice. It's probably how it's set up factory. Once you have all these things set up, it will work, provided you have a working gauge and a working tachometer sensor out on the truck, on the engine, because I had it all hooked up and it didn't work. I swapped out a sensor and it worked. I hope this helps.